Hello and welcome to Midlife Magic, a unique channel for unique women. I am super excited today to have LuAnn with us to talk to us about nature and you, a healing vibration. LuAnn will be sharing information on how you can bring the power of forest therapy into your home to create more balance in your life, in your mind, help reduce the effects of stress in your life, and encourage your body to heal. LuAnn is the founder of the Inner Harmony Incorporated and the Inner Harmony School. She is passionate about color, art, design, essential oils, rocks, crystals, numerology, astrology, and has been since she was a small child. In 1999, LuAnn began her studies with various teachers in Feng Shui and then became an interior alignment practitioner and master teacher. She's a full-time practitioner and teacher of Feng Shui and space clearing and has taught in many beautiful places in the world and has students globally. LuAnn is a master oracle card reader, gateway dreaming mentor, soul coaching advanced practitioner and trainer, clutter clearing coach, and color therapy practitioner. She offers distance consultation and online life enrichment classes and an online certification program in forest therapy. She lives about an hour outside of Pittsburgh on 88 acres with her dog, kitties, husband, and lots of outdoor creatures. I am so super excited that you are here, LuAnn, and can't wait to hear everything that you can tell us about the forest therapy. Thank you.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here today too. And look, Colleen and I were wearing our blue colors today. We're all teal and calm and beachy today. So I am so excited. Thank you again for asking me to be here. And I am passionate about using the power of nature to help rebalance and restore and rejuvenate and bring more joy into our lives. And I've always probably been drawn to it, even though I spent 20 years in the corporate world. I was a computer programmer, IT manager, doing logical management, serious things. But my passion, ever since I was little, was always about color and rocks and aromatherapy, like the sights, the sounds, the smells of nature, right? And so, when I learned about this thing called Feng Shui, it was really taking all of those things that I already loved, design and color and symbolism and mysticism, and blending it all into how we can create this energy in our home. Now, there are many, many schools of Feng Shui, right? And so if you've read a little bit about Feng Shui, and if I'm going to recommend a book, of course, I'm going to recommend Denise Linn's book, Feng Shui for the Soul, and also her book, Sacred Space. Both of those were groundbreaking. Feng Shui for the Soul was only the second book in English on Feng Shui that had been published. And when I found those books, it was like, oh, yes, this is something I've always believed in, and now it ties it together. But there are many, many schools and systems of Feng Shui. And there are some that don't maybe address nature as much as Denise's system of interior alignment. And there's a reason for that, right? It's because 4,000 years ago, we lived differently, right? The people in China were not living in man-made high-rise buildings with electricity and indoor plumbing and indoor heating, and they wouldn't jump in their cars and drive from one parking garage to the next parking garage and never be outside. No, they were living in nature. Their homes were constructed with rock and stone, and they lived in places that their feet touched the actual earth, and they worked with natural elements within their space. They didn't need anything additional in their feng shui systems to talk about bringing in nature. But as time went on and our ways of living evolved, we now have the luxury of living in places that if you wanted a little cooler, you just address that with a little device on the wall, right? If you need to clean yourself, you go into a beautiful room and turn on some faucets and water cascades down your body, right? I mean, we live in a wonderful luxury way, but it's not always that connected to nature. It's fascinating how when we look at what has gone on in our lives as humans, and I'll say in our health as humans over the past 100 years, and we compare that with the way that we live, we can look at all of the different disease that happens now. And a lot of disease or dis-ease, right, if we think of it that way, a lot of disease that has seemed to have really snowballed in the past 50 years. And I'm not saying people living 100 years ago didn't have different types of diseases. They did. There was cancer. There was those types of diseases then. But the prevalence of things like that now, and the prevalence of things that have more to do with chronic issues like MS and fibromyalgia and those types of inflammation-based diseases are rampant right now. And of course, there could be a lot of factors in that. But as somebody who looks at how do we live, what kind of dwellings do we live in, how are we connecting with the natural forces, there is a real correlation between enjoying our types of homes that we live in now, but also this increase in disease. So I want to talk a little bit about those things, not to be gloom and doom, okay, but just so we have that comparison, because there are ways to adjust it. There are ways to bring that natural vibration back into our lives. So one of the things that is really prevalent in our homes now, and I know none of us would want to live without it, is our electricity and our ability to connect to the outside world, like the internet, right? Good Lord, how would we have gotten through the pandemic if we didn't have Netflix and couldn't talk to each other on Zoom? Like it would have just been, I don't know, I guess we would have all been like living a monastic life. So there's benefits to it, but there's also invisible health risks with those things, okay? There's something called EMFs. EMFs are electromagnetic frequencies. And these electromagnetic frequencies are in our homes. They come off of the different devices that are in our homes. And EMFs have been proven to disrupt our own body's own electromagnetic rhythms, right? We have an electromagnetic rhythm of our heart. We read it with an EKG, and we've got it in our brain. An EEG can read that. So we've got our own little vibrations and rhythms, but when we're in these other wavelengths, our body has to work harder to just maintain the normal rhythm. And so in our homes, when we have all of these electrical devices around us, our body's having to fight a bit to maintain its own rhythms. And if we aren't careful with how we use our electronic devices in our home, then our body is never going into that healing cycle where it can just relax and heal, because it's always in this fight or flight kind of cycle of, we got to maintain our rhythm. It's harder. We got to do it, right? So one thing that we want to look at within our homes are these electromagnetic frequencies. Another thing that could be in our home that could be damaging is the kinds of chemicals that we surround ourselves in the air. And the chemicals within our home are sneaky, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, it's that new carpet smell. Well, yeah, you got new carpeting. That new carpet smell, that's chemicals, okay? And those are chemicals that are not healthy for us. A lot of times it's formaldehyde, and formaldehyde is not great for us to be breathing. So being aware of the chemicals that we bring into our home is an important thing. And those chemicals, like I said, are sneaky. We buy cleaning materials thinking that our cleaners are going to make our house cleaner. But in fact, a lot of those chemicals then hang in the air and are not healthy for us. So noticing what kinds of things we're bringing in and polluting our own indoor air with is important. And it's more important now than it was, let's say, 50, 60, or 100 years ago. Because you might say, well, my grandmother used this kind of cleaner in the house, and that was fine. Well, your grandmother did not live in an airtight home built to recirculate the air to make it more energy efficient. That is a great thing to be energy efficient. That's a great way to be green and save the planet, right? But it also means when it's airtight, it's not breathing and releasing anything to the outside world. And so everything we bring in, every chemical cleaner, every new finish that we put in our home, every new piece of furniture or item that potentially off gases, we aren't giving it that opportunity to be released out into the world. Whereas houses that weren't airtight, oh, they breathe those chemicals out all day long. So we're in a different world where we have to be more aware. And then the other aspect that our wonderful modern insulated homes give us is that ability to not pay attention. If it's daytime, nighttime, people work night shifts, they sleep during the day. And because we can artificially turn on the lights and make it as bright as daytime anytime we want, we can be active anytime we want. It's a wonderful luxury. However, what that means is we aren't actually getting a lot of natural sunlight anymore. We aren't bringing a lot of that into our homes. I know a lot of people just keep the blinds pulled all day long because, well, that sun beating down into the house is going to heat it up and we'll have to pay more for air conditioning. So we insulate ourselves from nature for very logical reasons, to save money, to keep our house comfortable. There's a lot of logical reasons, but the problem is we aren't connecting with that cycle that humans evolved in. So with all of these things, what do we do? How do we bring more nature into our house? How do we make our homes a healthier and more vibrant and more uplifting place to live? I've got some solutions for you. Okay, so what I want you to do for a moment is I want you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to just take a deep breath in and then out. And I want yourself to allow yourself to relax. And I want you to imagine that you are in your favorite place in nature right now, whatever that is. And it could be a real place in nature. Maybe it's your backyard. You love your backyard. Maybe there's a beach you love to go to. Maybe there's a special natural park you like to go to, or just a park around the corner, or maybe it's imaginary. You just imagine there's a place this cool. Whatever it is, I'm going to be quiet for a moment, and I want you to imagine that you are there. Just use your imagination. You are sitting there. Now, as you imagine it, I want you to think and imagine what you would see. What color is the sky? What color is the ground? What kinds of things do you see around you? Are there trees or plants? Is there water? Noticing what the ground is like underneath you. Is it grassy? Is it sandy? Just whatever. Just really immerse yourself there. Imagining now not only that you see it, but that you can feel it underneath your feet. Imagine you have bare feet and that it feels so good to be connected there. Imagine you can reach out and touch those things around you. Maybe you place your hand in the water or touch a flower or whatever it is that you see. And notice what its texture feels like on your hand. And noticing now, just standing there, noticing, feeling, sensing, what does the air feel like? Is it warm, cool, dry, moist? Can you feel this breeze on your skin? And taking a breath in here, inhaling the beautiful scent of your place in nature. What would it smell like if you were there? What would it be? Maybe you can smell the ocean. Maybe you're in the forest, you can smell the pine, whatever it is. Imagine breathing that in. And now what would you hear? What sounds do you hear in your favorite place in nature? You are doing so well. That's excellent. Breathing it in, imagining it all. And whenever you're ready, you can exhale and open your eyes. And now imagining you've just visited this beautiful place in nature. You've brought some of its energy back to you. And what forest therapy is about connecting to the energy of nature. Now, I teach forest therapy. I take people on forest therapy experiences. I lead a forest therapy certification. And I'm passionate about the power of the forest and of nature to heal us. And I'm going to say of nature therapy, because you don't always have to be in a forest. You can be in a garden. You can be at a beach. And it's the power of various items in nature that brings us a healing vibration. When I say it heals us because it's putting us back into the environment that human beings evolved in. And there were things we needed in that natural environment for our bodies to be balanced and healthy. So I'm going to talk to you about some of those key aspects that are from forest therapy, but then how we're going to bring those key aspects into your home so that even on a day where you can't step outside, even when there's times where you can't be in nature, that you can bring that vibration into your home, okay? So one of the first things is what we see, right? When you step into nature, whether it's a garden or at the ocean or in the forest, there are certain things that we see. And those things, it's the objects themselves, but it's also the color of those objects. And there's certain colors that bring us more of a healing vibration to our body. If we think about how people evolved, and a lot of times the easiest place to live was someplace that was lush, and lush means sort of green, right? And so it tends to be that the color green has the most healing effect on the human body. It's a color that when we're around the color green, it will lower high blood pressure. It will raise low blood pressure. It is the easiest color on our eyes. And so when we are around the color green, it's kind of a trigger for our body to go, oh, everything's okay. I can relax a little bit now. And so perhaps in your favorite place, when you were envisioning that nature, you saw some green. Maybe that was green of the water. Maybe that was green of the trees or the flowers or the plants or the grass. But green has a very healing vibration for us. So one of the first things you can think about is, how can I bring some green color into my home? Okay. Now, green is not everybody's favorite color, right? In terms of decorating, they're like, ooh, green. So be sneaky, right? You can still bring green in. You don't have to paint a wall green. Now, I will tell you that my whole bedroom is painted a beautiful green called Kendall green. It's like a deep foresty, evergreeny green, and it's so peaceful to sleep in. But that's not everyone's vibe. So how can you sneaky way bring in some green? Well, you can add some fun things like pillows that have some green. You can bring some artwork that is of nature and maybe leafy green trees or beautiful flowers with green leaves. You can even use a more modern art. You're like, oh, I don't like nature pictures. That's fine. Find some more modern art pieces that have some green in. Find some green rocks and crystals. Okay, all of those things are a way to bring sneaky ways to bring in that green to zhuzh up that nature vibe in your space. But green is just one of the colors. When we're outside and we look up, what's another color we see? Tends to be blue, right? And so bringing in blue is another way to bring in a calming, healing vibration for our body, right? Again, might not be your favorite color, but when you bring blue into a space, it triggers your body to breathe more deeply. It truly does. Science has shown it. There's even studies that show what blue light can do to reduce infection, as well as think of those little babies born in the hospital with jaundice, and they put them under a blue light to regulate their body to take that jaundice out. Blue is a healing, blue vibration light is a healing modality for our body. So again, you can use those sneaky ways through accents. You can bring in pillows or a throw. You can do fun things. See that light behind me? It's one of those cool LED lights that you can change its color based on a little remote. And so you can sneaky way bring blue light in with just the push of a button. So there's these fun ways that we can bring some of these nature vibrations in. And color is huge. Color is huge because it's light, right? If it was dark outside, we wouldn't see those colors. We would just see outlines and shapes. And so when we are human beings, we're not naturally nocturnal creatures, okay? All of our senses are geared to be out during the daylight. Unlike cats, cats can see in the far infrared spectrum, meaning when cats go out at night, they can see the warm bodies of the little mice and the chipmunks, and that's how they can hunt at night, okay? We don't have far infrared eyesight. We weren't meant to be out at night hunting. We were meant to be huddled up somewhere safe at night, okay? And so our bodies are attuned to being out in the light, in the sunlight. And so that whole aspect of light in the house, in addition to color, is another way that we can bring a healing vibration in. Now, the best way to get the best kind of light is sunlight. Sunlight is the full spectrum of light, and it also includes that far infrared and the ultraviolet. And of course, you don't want to go out and burn your skin, but in as little as 20 minutes a day of being in sunlight, your body is going to produce vitamin D in a natural way, the way we were evolved to be. So great if you can spend some time outside. Great if you can open your blinds and curtains and allow natural sunlight into your space. But what if you're in a space that doesn't have any great sunlight, right? What if you work in an office space all day with no window? Now what do you do? Well, what you want to look for is light bulbs that are called full spectrum light bulbs or natural daylight light bulbs. And that way you can infuse your body with that same kind of light energy that we can get outdoors, okay? So light and color, think of those things. And then think of the natural shapes that we see outside, bringing in imagery. And I'm going to encourage you, your favorite place in nature, wherever that is, How can you bring some pictures of that into your space? Maybe if you have a smart TV, and smart TVs are amazing devices because you're not trapped to watching whatever is on Netflix, right? You can go out onto YouTube. You can find those beautiful 3-hour-long YouTube videos that have nature sounds and nature images, and just play that on your TV. So if your favorite place in nature was the beach, I encourage you to go onto YouTube, find one of those 3-hour-long just at the beach videos that will just play with the sound of the ocean and the ocean birds, and just play that on your smart TV in your living room as your piece of art. It will bring such a powerful vibration of nature into your space. You can find ones for the forest. You can find ones for the desert. You can find ones for many, many different types of locations. And just bringing that in, maybe not for 3 hours, maybe even for an hour, is a beautiful way to rebalance your space and its energy and bring that vibration in. Well, I'm talking about TV, that's one way, but you can bring sound in another way. Playing nature sound in your home is a way to reset the vibration of sound within your home. And I can guarantee you, most people, maybe not the people who are here, because people who are here are probably very educated in terms of what we listen to makes a difference, but words have a vibration and a power. And so if people in your home like to watch the news a lot, and so they have the news on all day long, and people are talking about negative stuff on the news, or they watch a reality TV show where people are mean to each other for an hour, right? Or anything that has a lot of negative words and energy about it. Those words and that vibration of that energy is in your space. So playing something that is a nature vibration, bird song, ocean sound, the sound of a rainstorm, the sound of a little creek trickling along over rocks, waterfalls, all of those nature sounds, just sounds of leaves in the trees, are going to reset the vibration within your space. If you have ever heard of Dr. Emoto, he's the Japanese scientist who did a lot of work with the power of word vibration, sound vibration, and even the intentional word vibration, and how it affects water, and how, yes, it could be the water that we drink, but it's also the water in our bodies. We are 70% water. And so our bodies respond to these vibrations of sound that we place in our space. If you're not that into your house sounding like birds chirping all the time, then I'm going to suggest that another thing to look for is what they call healing tones, like you might hear of binaural beats. You might have heard of solfeggio tones, but there's beautiful musical pieces written out there. Again, you can find them on YouTube. I'm sure you can find them on other digital media, and just play those. It creates a beautiful harmonic within your space, that those tones, those melodic tones, shift the vibration within your own body, just as if you were in nature. Okay, so we talked about what you see, we talked about what you hear. Let's talk a little bit about what you feel, okay? And so when you're in nature, okay, and we feel that breeze, we were meant to feel a breeze on our face, right? When we're inside and the air is still, that's not really like nature. One of the best ways to cure that indoor air chemical problem and also get that natural feeling of a breeze is open your windows for a while. Now, I know if you're running the air conditioner or running the heater, you're going to say, oh, that's wasteful. And I get it. It is, okay, in that sense. However, I don't know what is worth your health, right? And so opening the windows, allowing any of the chemicals that might be in your home to be released, feeling that breeze, that fresh air. And when I call it fresh air, It's fresh because it's been recently oxygenated by the plants that live outside your home, right? Plants are creating oxygen all the time. And so when we open our windows, we're allowing things to release that we don't want, but we're also bringing in this naturally created fresh air. And when the trees and the plants are creating this oxygen, they are also creating and talking to each other through the chemicals that they release in the air. Trees do talk to each other, and they talk to each other through the different chemicals that we release. Now, you might think of it as aromatherapy, and in a sense it is, but it's the chemical messengers that when one tree wants to tell another tree, hey, I've got these caterpillars eating me, you better make your leaves taste funny so that they don't come and eat you. They do that by releasing a chemical in the air, and the trees downwind go, oh, okay, there's those bad caterpillars out there. We're going to make our leaves taste bad. And they shift, they truly do. They shift the chemical structures of their leaves so they don't taste good to these caterpillars. Well, what's cool about this is that once upon a time when we were a part of nature, we breathed all of that in too. And it gave us more of a natural immunity. It boosted our immune system because we breathed in what the trees were telling everybody about what was going on in the world. So by opening your windows, allowing that fresh air in, you're getting the breeze, you're getting oxygenated air, and you're also getting those secret messages that the trees are releasing. So that's a way that we can work with the quality of our air within our home. Another way that you can do it is you can bring in some beings to help. You can bring in some plant beings. And so when you bring plants into your home, you do a couple things. Number one, those plants, they're going to take some of those chemicals out of the air. They're going to put fresh oxygen out. Okay. They're going to be like little pets that help you have a better home environment. And I will call them pets. They are living beings. Okay. They bring a life force energy into your home. They, in some way, allow you to get that feeling and that vibration of being out in nature, even while you're still in your home. And so that can be a very powerful way to bring the power of forest therapy into a space every day. Another set of beings that you can bring into your home are our rock and crystal friends. Now, you might not think of them as beings, but they are. Okay, they have a different kind of life force energy than we do, but they have a life force energy. And our wonderful Colleen is an expert in rocks and crystals. In fact, I know she has another course coming up in that. And so by bringing rock and crystal beings into your space, you're again bringing another vibration straight from nature into your home. Now, you may already have some rock and crystal friends in your home, some of them that you've like intentionally invited, like if you're, kind of a fiend like some of us are, you just find these rocks and crystals in all sorts of places and they say, I want to go home with you. And you're like, okay. And some of them might have already been there and you don't think about them, right? How often do you greet your granite countertop? Do you ever talk to your quartz crystal countertops in your bathroom? Do you talk to your tile floor, right? You should. Those are rock and crystal beings too. And when you talk to them, when you love them up, when you clear them, when you send intention or share your intentions with them, your little rock and crystal buddies are all for you, right? And they will help hold that intention in your space. So bringing that energy and inviting their energy to be a part of your home, like acknowledging it, right? Really acknowledging that they're there and they are a part of it, can be hugely powerful. So those are some of the ways. If your favorite place in nature happened to be the beach, well, then maybe you're bringing in shells. Maybe you want to bring in imagery of fish and mermaids. Maybe you want to bring more pictures of the ocean in, right? Those are ways you can bring that driftwood, right? Things that you would find at the beach. You might even have a little bowl of sand that you can run your fingers through, right? And just evoke that sense of what it's like to be at the beach. So bringing those things of nature into your home is a way to have that connection. And then scent. Remember, I had you breathe in and notice? Well, essential oils can be a part of how you bring that natural vibration into your space as well. One other thing I want to close with, because it's important, is if you've ever heard of earthing. Now, a lot of people have heard of grounding, and grounding is when we connect with the energy of the earth, right? And we can do meditations and we can ground ourselves. But earthing is a very specific, your bare feet are on the earth, right? And the reason why it's a very specific bare feet on the earth is because the earth has a wavelength, it has a vibration, it has a natural, if you want to think of it, EMF that human beings walked on for hundreds of thousands of years. And then we started wearing rubber-soled shoes. And we could kind of track when we started wearing rubber-soled shoes and we lived in our insulated houses, that disease connected to inflammation started to really rise. A lot of people will go and do forest therapy in their hiking shoes. And they will spend 2 hours walking around in their hiking shoes outside, and they get the color, they get the fresh air, the essential oils, they get the sunshine, they get the nature sounds, but they're not getting plugged in to that energy of Mother Earth that we need. And so earthing, if you're taking yourself outside to do forest therapy, you don't have to walk in your bare feet, but what you are going to want to do is sit for a while and sit and touch the ground. And even if you don't like to sit right on the ground, let your hand go down and touch the earth, stroke the grass, feel a plant, hug a tree. The plants and the trees have their feet deep into the ground, and they will carry that wavelength to you. If you're indoors, what do? How can you get that benefit of earthing? There are ways, okay? There's a website out there called earthing.com that has various devices that actually plug into your electrical outlet and use that ground wire that goes into the earth to bring that earth's natural vibration up to you and then connect on a mat you sit on or something you have your feet on. And so that is a way to do it. My husband created his own, okay? He got a copper plate off of Amazon. He ordered it. It's like 2 feet by 1 foot. He got some copper wire. He ran the copper wire outside the door, outside of his office, into the ground, stuck it into the ground, ran the copper wire underneath the plate, duct taped it to the plate, and sticks his feet on the plate. And I will tell you that that conducts the same or more than the earthing.com. But not everybody can go run a copper wire out their door or their window to stick in the ground. So that earthing aspect that you can do through these things, you can buy sheets for your bed. There's all sorts of, I'll call it sneaky ways again, that you can connect with that energy of the earth. Okay, I hope I shared a lot of ways that you can bring this healing energy in. And Colleen, thank you so much. I know I went a little bit over the time, but
That's totally fine. That's so good. I love this, LuAnn. I mean, yeah, we get little bits and pieces here and there and we pay attention and then we let things slide, right? And kind of wonder why we get off kilter again. So this was really great. Just before we wind up and stop the recording to invite everyone to chat with you, they can reach you at innerharmony.org. Is that correct?
It's inner-harmony.org, or an easier one to find me at is innerharmonyschool.com. Okay. And I would love for you to, if you're not already a friend of mine on Facebook, come find me on Facebook. I like to be friends with lots of people and see what you have to share in the world and share my little inspirations out there with you as well. And if forest therapy sounded like something you wanted to know more about, I do have an online certification in that. And even if you're not planning on walking people through the woods, it can be, what I've been told by my graduates is it is a really powerful course for helping them understand how in their busy lives, in a short amount of time, they can get the most benefit from their time in nature. It's also a course that allows people and encourages people to become ambassadors to nature, right? I don't want us to just use nature to make us feel better. Truly, we're partners. And if nature is helping us, then we want to help nature. So it's really, what can we also do to be good custodians of the earth? How can we give back to nature? So I would encourage you to check that out. And you can find that on innerharmonyschool.com. Okay.
Perfect. And just so everyone knows as well, that LuAnn does offer certification programs occasionally at her home and retreat in Pennsylvania, and you'd get to meet Breezy.
Get to meet Breezy. If she's sound asleep over there, so I won't lift her up.
But thank you, LuAnn, so much. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll go to the audience.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Colleen.